On this edition of Northwest Profiles, go behind the scenes with frightful filmmaker Ron Ford. Float alongside a local craftsman, preserving the ancient skill of building birch bark canoes. Get in step with Linda Bruseth, who's won a world title in country dancing. And visit a Coeur d'Alene hotspot that has thrived for nearly a century by keeping it simple. It's all right here on Northwest Profiles.
Hello and welcome to another edition of Northwest Profiles. I'm Lynn Velcher, your host on this odyssey through the inland Northwest in search of some of the interesting people, places, and events that make our area what it is, a great place to live. Coming up, our stories here tonight will, for the most part, keep us close to home here in Spokane, with the lone exception being a short trip to the always fun lake city of Coeur d'Alene, Idaho. So now that you're up to speed and buckled in, let's get started, shall we? If you grew up during the 1960s watching horror films like The Wolfman, Frankenstein, and The Creature from the Black Lagoon, you're considered a member of the monster boomer generation. Recently, we had a chance to meet up with one such monster boomer who has taken his obsession for horror movies and turned it into a creepy career.
Baron Vladimir and the walking cadaver over here.
Ron Ford's basement reveals his ominous obsession.
I love monsters.
It all began while growing up in Bremerton, Washington during the 1960s. Ron was thrilled with the creature features playing on television. These classic black and white horror movies captured his imagination and would ultimately influence his life. Today at 47, he's a proud member of the monster boomer generation.
There's a legion of us about my age. Like a lot of kids that grew up in that era, I was obsessed with these monsters, and that's always stuck with me. Now that I'm middle-aged, of course, I'm having midlife crisis and trying to recapture my youth, so I just keep going back to those old horror films, and it's just a big nostalgic kick for me. They were fun. The best of them still hold up as really, strong movies. I could watch Bride of Frankenstein any day. It started my love of films, and as I got older, I, started being interested in other types of films, too. I'm a real kind of a scholar of classic American cinema. I love all kinds of movies.
Ron also loves movie collectibles. His shadowy inner sanctum is filled with the horror film heroes of his youth, along with some spine-tingling surprises.
I'm not an obsessive collector like a lot of people, but over the years I've collected a few things that are resonant for me. I especially like The Creature from Black Lagoon. It's my favorite of the monsters. When I was a kid, I was amazed with that creature suit, that it seemed like such a realistic design compared to the other monsters of that time. So I have a pretty extensive collection of creature stuff.
Ron always knew he wanted to work in the horror film industry, so he attended Washington's Olympic College and received a degree in drama. It was here that he also met his wife, Paula. Then he was off to California to chase his dream. Ron spent years writing screenplays and learning the fine art of movie making.
First ambitions I remember having is wanting to be a makeup artist, do horror makeup. And then as I got older, I got more interested in being behind the screen. I wanted to be a writer. And then I realized that the director was the guy who really calls the shots on a movie, and more or less is the deciding factor of whether the movie's going to work or not. And so that's what I wanted to do.
In 1996, Ron directed his first feature, a sci-fi thriller titled Alien Force.
And then after that, I sort of had a reputation for being able to deliver sellable horror films for very little money and very fast. And that's the niche I've been stuck in ever since. A lot of times I go for humor. I figure these low budgets, you're not really going to scare people, so make it entertaining and make it fun.
Well, if you have a warrant, Mr. Scary Bad Cop.
There's a curse on our village. The curse of Frankenstein.
A good horror film, like any other film, is good because it's, it does something artistically interesting. It explores a theme in an intriguing way, or it really scares the hell out of you, really gets under your skin. A great horror film would be Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I mean, that thing just there's hardly any gore in it, but it's the creepiest thing I've ever seen in my life. It makes my skin crawl. Anything that can affect your emotions that way is good art, in my opinion.
Now living in Spokane, Ron continues to make scary movies with his Hollywood connections. Between films, he likes to indulge his other obsession.
No, I was at the theater.
The thing I love the most is acting on the stage. There's just no bigger satisfaction for me. I don't enjoy acting in front of a camera as much. In films, I'd rather be behind the camera, but on stage, I'm not interested in directing or anything else. I just want to act.
I have a lot on my mind. It's an affliction common to geniuses.
I'm totally uninhibited on stage. It's about the only time I have, I feel totally free and uninhibited. If I really know my character and I'm in his shoes, I feel free. And then you're communicating with this audience and getting this energy back from them. It's an amazing feeling.
And I absolutely forbid any more men's clothing go out that window.
So what's next for this gifted filmmaker with a flair for the fanatic?
I'd like to make bigger budget movies. If someone give me $1 million, what I would love is to, have the resources to take the time to really make a great film instead of always making them on the run. We've done some pretty nice work, considering the budgets and the time frame we have to make them in. But it would be nice to really explore some themes and make a bigger budget movie and take the time with it.
Look for Ron Ford to leave something spooktacular for the next generation of monster maniacs.
It's true that Ron's movies may be scary, but we found him to be a fairly normal guy. If you are wondering, the films of Ron Ford are available on the internet. His latest horror flick, Tiki, will be released to video stores later this year. Now, let me ask you, what's